Okay, so dear participants, good evening, good morning. Welcome to the Education Working Group within the Canada-Kazakhstan Business Council. This is the last of the working groups that we are running before the plenary session. I would like to call this meeting to order, and we'll do a little bit of remarks before we open the panel presentations. First of all, I would like to express our gratitude to Chemical Corporation, Kazatomprom National Company, the Embassy of Kazakhstan to Canada, and all the other sponsors and supporters who assisted us for preparing the working group meetings and in organization of the upcoming plenary session on March the 3rd. To make this meeting as effective as possible, I would like to provide some technical suggestions. First of all, as I mentioned in the very beginning, before we actually started the session, this event is held in Zoom meeting format. This is why I ask everyone, please mute your computers if you are not speaking to avoid any background noise, because this meeting will be recorded. Please make sure that your actual name is displayed on the screen because we can see everyone. We would like to know who are on the session. The meeting is held in two languages, English and Russian. So if you need translation, you can get it by pressing the interpretation button at the bottom of your screen. And then you choose your preferred language from the drop-down menu for each particular presentation. We also plan the Q&A session at the end of the working group meeting. So for this, I ask everyone, please send your questions in chat. And I will be grateful if you can indicate to whom your question is addressed and from whom this question is coming. That will be very important for us. I also would like to mention that Canada and Kazakhstan, as you know, have very significant time difference. And we would like to make sure that this event is not taking more than 1 hour. So the presentations will be short, and we will provide for everyone a possibility to see the full presentation decks. After the event, we will post it at the web page of this meeting, so you will be able to access it. You will also be able to see the bios of all the speakers, and we are going to post also the video record of the session in about a couple of 3 days. So I think that's all I wanted to say on my side. I now would like to open the program and invite to our virtual stage our moderator for the session today, Gilles Breton. He is also a chair of the Canada-Eurasia Chamber of Commerce National Board of Directors. Gilles will introduce the co-chairs of this working group and moderate the session. Gilles, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Tatiana. We'll try to do as you suggested. I'll try to speak slowly, even though we want to keep this meeting to a short meeting. First of all, on behalf of the Canada-Eurasia Chamber of Commerce, the management team, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the Kazakhstan-Canada Business Council Working Group on Education. So from now on, we're using abbreviations, acronyms, Canada-Eurasia Chamber of Commerce, CECC, and Kazakhstan-Canada Business Council, KCBC. Just a few words about CECC. CECC is a non-profit, non-governmental entity that is driven by its members and supported by many partner governments. The mandate is to promote bilateral trade and investment between Canada and Eurasia. On the Canadian side, CECC has the responsibility to organize the KCBC. Kazakhstan Prom is our partner at this time on the Kazakh side. KCBC working groups are the instrument to make the KCBC exercise productive from an economic development point of view. As Tatiana alluded to, the KCBC will be held in Toronto next Sunday on March 3rd. At CECC, we've been working with Kazakhstan for a long time. And we have observed, of course, in the past few years, increasing economic ties. And I think it is, some people might attribute this to geopolitical considerations, but I think it is based on the intrinsic interest of the two parties, in the sense that, of course, as many of you have heard before, we have similar geographies, but it is also a facilitating element is that, of course, Kazakhstan has a progressive governance model. Let's not forget about that. Canada and Kazakhstan, as I just mentioned, have many similarities, but they are not geographically close. Trade and investment need to be nurtured in a creative way. And that's what we're trying to do tonight, trying to be creative about our cooperation. Education, of course, as you all know, has its own economic importance, but it impacts all the sectors in the long term in terms of the economic cooperation. Education also has a direct line to sustainable development, a constant priority of CECC for many years. So I invite you to engage in this meaningful dialogue about common development objectives. At this point, I would, of course, like to salute the support of Cameco, that is the main sponsor of the KCBC this year. I would also like to salute our colleagues from Kazakhstan Prom, a most reliable partner for their contribution to our work. Now, I'll just shift for a moment from reading this little note, and I will look at the program to make sure that I get the names right of the two co-chairs that are with us tonight. Margaret Skok, a senior fellow at Carleton University, you can see on your screens. And from Kazakhstan, is Professor Janay Sagin, Professor of Geomatics and Engineering at the School of Information Technology and Engineering at Kazakh British Technical University. Voila, so we're ready to proceed and go on with the business part of our agenda. So our first speaker will be Mr. Aybolat Abitbekov, Director for International Cooperation at the Ministry of Science and Education of Higher Education of the Republic of Kazakhstan. Professor Director Abitbekov, please, over to you.
Hello.
Hello to everyone. Mr. Abitbekov has some technical problems. Just a minute.
Well, you know, we understand that perfectly, so let's take a second to fix that.
Hello, everyone.
Yes, hello.
Do you hear me clearly? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So, yes, good morning. It's morning in Astana, so I guess it's evening or it's already night in Canada. So, hello, everyone. My name is Aybolat Abitbekov. I am Director of International Cooperation Department. So, I would like to give some information about reforms in higher education system of Kazakhstan. I would like to, I want to ask how many minutes I have to present the presentation.
Tatiana, please let us nominate. What's the timeline?
Well, it's 5 minutes, Aybolat.
5 minutes, okay.
Yeah.
So, and I would like to demonstrate. There you go. So, do you see my presentation?
Yeah, it's perfect. We can see it.
Okay. Yes. So, I would like to briefly give you some information about what's going on in the higher education system. Basically, last 1.5 years ago, it was June 2022, the Ministry of Education split it into two ministries. First is Ministry of Science and Higher Education, and another one is the Ministry of Enlightenment, which is responsible for schools, and Ministry of Science and Higher Education is responsible for universities and basically the science, as it is said in the name of that. So, and our president, Mr. Tokayev, he said that we should become the education hub in the region and open the branches of leading universities of the world in Kazakhstan. And it was a very good timing because, as all you know, there is a war in Ukraine, and Russia is exiting from the Bologna process, and thousands of international students started to seek other opportunities to study in our region, and one of the best option became our country, Kazakhstan. Students from Pakistan, India, Tajikistan, and other countries, they started to knock our doors and looking for good universities. And our ministry, our country, tried to provide these opportunities. And as you can see in this map, we opened several branches of the good universities. And on the up north in the Petropavlovsk, as you can see, it was we opened the branch of University of Arizona. Yes, and on the west side, there is Harriet Watt University opened 3 faculties, 3 departments of geoengineering, electrical engineering, computer engineering in Aktobe. And we're working on this. If you see, look to the south, the civil tech, we are planning to visit South Korea in the beginning of the April, and we will meet with the top management of Civil Technical University, and they already opened their branch and the double degree programs in agriculture technology, IT technologies, engineering, and biotechnologies. There are other universities that we are planning to open their branches. For example, Penn State University and the CTU, City University of Hong Kong, is one of the best universities in the world, 70th place by the QS ranking. We have also Turkish universities that we are planning to open their branches, several Russian universities as Gubkin University, for example, and MEFI, and we have also Kazakhstan German Consortium that already opened their doors on September last year. So we're trying, and the last but not least, we'll also have a good relationship with China, and specifically we opened the branch of Luban workshop, and we have in Kazakhstan nowadays, I don't know what in Canada, but in Kazakhstan we have a lot of Chinese electric cars. So Luban workshop is specifically they work on repairing that electric cars. So this is shortly what we're doing nowadays in Kazakhstan, and the main goal is to become the education hub in the region, in our region. So
one more minute to go.
Oh, okay. 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 So we also work. We have partnership with big educational technology companies like Coursera, Microsoft, Huawei, Amazon, and HP and MasterCard. I already mentioned about branches of foreign universities on the map. And I'd like to say a couple of words about Konaev Academic Campus. We are building a new territory for the universities. It's a huge territory for all interested universities that will be separately from big cities. It's about 100 hectares. Yeah, so if there will be some interest, I can say about models of opening branches, because there are several models of it. And there is also some details, and because we have full government support for all branches of foreign universities, like funding, visa regime, land allocation, and etc. So basically, that's it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much for your presentation. We may have some questions for you later on. Thank you very much. Our
Thank
next
you.
speaker will be the co-chair of the group, I believe, Professor Janay Sagin of the Kazakh British Technical University. Professor Sagin.
Okay, thank you very much. Do you see my slides? Do you see my screen? Do you see my full screen, colleagues, or not?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Yes, thank you very much. It was excellent that Aybalat presented most investment, what is going on in Kazakhstan. And I would like to present something like gaps, what we're missing in Kazakhstan, what we don't have in Kazakhstan. So as Aybalat mentioned, we have Ministry of Science and we have Ministry of Education, which is related to colleges. And our college system is very weak here. So we need support from Canada to work on this issue. So also our President Tokayev mentions that we have a big problem with colleges, and that industry unhappy with our college system, and we need more technicians. So this is a big issue, that a lot of students from high school, they jump to the universities, and we're missing technicians. Simply we don't have them, proper technicians who can work for industry like Kazatomprom or mining industry on other structures. So this is a big problem. And another problem what we face in Kazakhstan, somehow we have some kind of extreme. Before, Kazakhstan worked a lot with Singapore. We tried to copy a lot of stuff from Singapore. And now Kazakhstan decided that Finland is the best of the world in water industry. But it looks like some kind of, what about other countries? So for example, Canada and the United States, if we see this area, it's a lot of similarities here. So we compare with Apple and Apple. So why Finland? Finland is here. It's a very small country, and we have a lot of differences with Finland. So if we compare, for example, this region and this region, we have a lot of similarities: temperature, precipitation, geology, and what we do, a lot of similarities. And what we're missing transboundary cooperation. So Canada and United States has excellent Red River Basin Commission, it's an example. So we need to learn how this basin system works. We don't have this type of colleges like Red River College, which works for basin-based management. And also with this system, you see, for example, on the same line, for example, basin of Germany and France. So they have a lot of stuff related to white hydrogen. So what is white hydrogen? White hydrogen, it's natural geology, natural geological hydrogen. So somehow in Kazakhstan, we're stuck with green hydrogen, which is very expensive, 10 times more than white hydrogen. We don't have anything, zero strategy related to white hydrogen. At the same time, Kazakhstan is very rich with natural resources, with minerals, with uranium, where we have this radiolysis and serpentinization, this like natural geological fabrics which produce hydrogen. And it's surprised that we don't have it here. So it will be reasonable to work in this area and study how it works in other countries. And Canada is very strong in this area. For example, this doctor, he works on this white hydrogen, And it will be great to learn how Canada works on white hydrogen, how they explore in Alberta, in Ontario, this white hydrogen. We don't have this expertise. It will be nice to meet this type of experts and learn from this Chapman hydrogen group how they explore this white hydrogen. So we don't have it, but we want it. So it will be excellent to work in this area. So another big group in Canada, in Montreal, this Hydroma group. So they have a big exploration of white hydrogen in Mali, in Africa. So it will be great to learn from this expert how they did it. So we don't have it. So it will be good to develop this connection and maybe to have some kind of exchange program to visit to this company and maybe go to Mali and to have a dual educational program. It should be based on TVET, Technical Vocational Educational Training Program. So another issue, how to use hydrogen, we don't have it also. So on one hand, we're trying to work in this area, but we don't have technicians, we don't have colleges. So in this case, this Canadian College of North Atlantic is quite good in technician training program. So we would love to develop cooperation and learn how they train. And they have branch in Qatar. We would like to learn how they develop this branch in Qatar. Who knows, maybe we can set up this Canadian branch. So it should be
1 minute to go.
Okay, so it should be like this. So eventually we have partners from Kyrgyzstan and so we'd like to set up this cooperation. And this is our group. So what we would like to develop eventually. So eventually we'd like to have this type of connections. So it could be dual educational training, theory, so theory here and practical visit, for example, to Alberta, Ontario, and this group who works on all this stuff. So this is our target. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm done.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Very interesting. Now, okay, hold on a second. My next speaker is Director for Strategic Development at the Abilkas Saginov Karaganda Technical University, Professor Director Gulnara Jetesova.
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги.
Great, we have your screen.
Сейчас вы видите мой экран. Я вот поделилась с вами экраном. Значит, что я хочу сказать. Карагандинский технический университет имени Абылкаса Сагинова в 23-м году, в прошлом году мы отметили свой 70-летний юбилей. Если мы хотим разделить развитие на 5 этапов.
If we divide our development into 5 stages, 1953, 58, when we were Karaganda mining.
6-20 год Карагандинский это государственный технический университет. С 20 по 22 это Карагандинский технический университет, уже не коммерческое акционерное общество. И с 2022 года мы именуемся как Карагандинский технический университет имени Абылкаса Сагинова. Вкратце хочу остановиться на некоторых наших достижениях. Значит, если еще 7 лет назад мы вели подготовку по 40 специальностям бакалавриата, 27 магистратуры, 8 докторантуры и 6 военно-учетным специальностям, то в настоящее время мы уже ведем подготовку по 135 образовательным программам, 49 бакалавриата, 78 магистратуры, 8 докторантуры. Кроме того, у нас реализуется совместная образовательная программа с медицинским университетом Караганды, это IT-медицина. Обращаю внимание, что у нас ежегодно увеличивается трудоустройство выпускников, а также мы в учебном процессе используем 226 докторов и кандидатов наук и 76 докторов PhD. Мне бы хотелось остановиться на наших рейтингах. Рейтинги представлены, что мы вот в соответствующих рейтингах. В прошлом году мы получили, в 2023 году, 4 звезды QS Stars Ranking Systems, и только 114 вузов со всего мира получили 4 звезды. Конечно, ежегодно у нас увеличивается количество вузов и количество академических обменов, но вот в этом году мы хотим сотрудничать с одним из крупнейших технических вузов Венгрии, Абуда университетом, который является третьим европейским университетом, входит в топ-3 европейских университетов, ведущих в области искусственного интеллекта большие исследования. Хочу обратить внимание, что у нас ежегодно растет финансирование научно-исследовательских работ, и уже сейчас мы с научно-исследовательских работ получаем доход в 1,5 миллиарда тенге. У нас увеличиваются ежегодно статьи базы Clarivate Analytics и Scopus. В дальнейшем хотим мы компенсировать затраты нашим ученым по публикации данных статей. Ну и, конечно, качество наших публикаций и научных исследований отразилось в том, что группа ученых в 2020 году стала лауреатами Государственной премии Республики Казахстан имени Аль-Фараби в области науки и технологий. Ну, на этом слайде я хотела отметить, что у нас есть журнал, это молодой журнал. В прошлом году мы вошли в базу Scopus, он сейчас индексируется у нас в базе Scopus, называется Material and Mechanical Engineering Technology. Мы предполагаем, что благодаря конференции, которую мы проведем в октябре месяце вместе с венгерской стороной, и называется она IEEE, эта конференция, мы достигнем соответствующего цитируемости нашего журнала, и на этой конференции будут принимать ученые с хиршем от 60 до 140.
1 минута.
Да. Что я хотела сказать? Ну, у нас имеется мощная материально-техническая база. В основном это база горно-металлургического профиля и машиностроения, так как мы являемся техническим университетом. Мы предполагаем, что у нас имеются достаточно большие перспективы развития. Это здесь мы представили наших международных партнеров. И мы, эффективно участвуем в таких международных и научных образовательных проектах Европы, США, Азии, Synergy, Tempus, Erasmus, Mundus, Балашак, Университет ШОС, Институт Конфуция и другие. Что мы ждем от сотрудничества с канадскими университетами? Это обмен и передача знаний, так как Канада славится своими исследовательскими программами. Это обмен студентами и преподавателями. Подобный обмен позволит студентам и преподавателям наших стран получить ценный межкультурный опыт. Это развитие инновационной структуры, так как канадские университеты часто активно участвуют в создании инновационных кластеров. Это поддержка предпринимательства и стартапов. Канада известна своими программами поддержки. И в целом сотрудничество КАРТУ имени Абылкаса Сагинова с канадскими университетами в рамках конвенции университет индустрии имеет потенциал для усиления академических исследований и инновационной возможности университета. Ну, вкратце хотела сказать все. Здесь мы представили, каким образом мы, отпраздновали свой 70-летний юбилей. Вот были представители, соответствующие грамоты мы получили. Спасибо за внимание.
Thank you very much for a very detailed and interesting presentation. Thank you for that. I will now pass it over to the next speaker on our list, Ms. Aliya Ospanova, the chair of the board of the Center for International Programs for the Bolashak. Thank you very much. You are very good. The screen is on already.
Yes. Okay. Dear distinguished guests, first of all, let me express my sincerest gratitude on behalf of President's Scholarship Program, Bolashak, and let me share a little bit about our program. So we have started 30 years ago in 1993 and have been counted more than 13,000 alumni all over the world in these years. We have been aimed to train the most high competent professionals in the top institutions and the best higher educational academia all over the world. Currently, we have 2,100 scholarship holders who are studying abroad, and we have been building this relationship and trying to make them stronger year over year. Focusing on Canada, currently we have 17 scholarship holders who are studying in Canada, in Calgary, Toronto, and Waterloo, and other universities. Overall, in 30 years, we had 278 scholarship holders who successfully completed their studies in Canada. But as you have mentioned, as you have noted on the previous slide, we may see that there is still area to strengthen our mutual cooperation and to grow the presence of Canadian universities within Bolshak scholarship holders. Basically, our center, which is called the Center for International Programs, which I manage, is responsible and administering 4 different programs. The first one is Bolshak program. The second one, the truly pioneering, the program which is dedicated to boost research and science, where we send 500 visiting scholars every year to international universities and research scientific centers. Bolshak program covers graduate programs, master programs, PhD programs, and professional academic internships. We manage intergovernmental scholarships, and we successfully cooperate with universities and different bilateral partners who are interested in attracting international students from Kazakhstan to study in their countries. And the fourth program, which we are offering since this year, is Study in Kazakhstan, where we provide the scholarships for international students administered by our center. We are basically and significantly very much interested in building partnerships with universities from Canada. We are very much looking forward to getting known research centers of Canada, because understanding and connecting the dots in the terms of research is a bit more different than collaborating with universities, and that would be very important to us to have the partners who would be really relevant to discuss the research ideas with us. Also, we would be really happy to be the international scholarships manager from the Kazakhstan countryside, and we would be very happy to discuss these matters. Here you may see our social media and the website where you can find more information about us. Also, I will leave in the public chat my email details in case if you would have some questions, and there would be some universities or research groups, research institutions who would be really willing to cooperate. Thank you very much for your attention, and I wish you a very fantastic and interesting session.
Well, thank you very much. As you said, I mean, we've had so far a very interesting session with the 4 presentations from Kazakhstan. It's now time to turn to the 11 presentations. I promised we'd be creative, so I'm going to be creative about this program and ask perhaps Ambassador Scott to say a few words, I believe. Ambassador Scott, you wanted to say something at this point and perhaps take over?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Merci beaucoup, tout le monde. Thank you, everyone. I am so happy to say that education in Canada is a provincial and territorial jurisdiction, which is also has responsibility for curriculum development. As you noted, we have both universities as well as colleges, and both of these have the option of research and on-hand training, which is important. The education system that we have is both public and private. And the emphasis is on bilingualism as well, because we have 2 official languages, and many of universities and colleges have both. It's like the 50% of the population now in Kazakhstan speaks Kazakh, and because of their international programs, thank you, Madame Aspanova, you also have, like Europe, 3 or 4 or 5 languages that everybody speaks. Our first speaker is Richard Paisley from University of BC. He's an expert in transboundary water issues and has participated in some of the water security issues with me in Central Asia. He's just returned from Afghanistan, where the new canal is a subject of interest.
Thank you, Margaret. You can go to the next slide, please. So just a quick disclaimer. I have an academic position at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver at the Institute of Asian Research. And previously I was at the law school for many years, running a program in international diplomacy. But I also do work on occasion, and even now, for the United Nations and the World Bank. but everything I say, you can't hold them responsible for what I'm going to say. I'm going to speak it on my own behalf. I just have a number of key messages. I was pleased to see that Janae brought up the subject of international waters. No country in the world is better situated than Kazakhstan to have a major influence both in the region and internationally on international waters. And given the right opportunities and the right training and the right experiences, I think Kazakhstan, in my experience, could be a tremendous world leader in this regard. So my message is simply that climate change, of course, is the ultimate threat multiplier. Climate change is increasing, and there's a number of events happening in Central Asia writ large right now, which have the potential for enormous impact on the water supply and ultimately agriculture and ultimately the environment and everything else in Central Asia, including Kazakhstan. Those two big events that you're probably aware of are the Kosh-Tepa Canal, which is being built in Afghanistan by the Taliban. That would siphon a significant amount of water, at least some people say it would, out of the Amu Darya River, which currently travels through Central Asia and used to empty into the Aral Sea. Of course, Kazakhstan is more familiar with the Syr Darya River, which also used to empty into the Aral Sea. That's a huge project with a lot of ramifications. The Ragun Dam in Tajikistan is another big structure that's being built in Tajikistan with ramifications for the area. But as with all crisis, there's opportunity. Disputes involving water, it turns out, are often more amenable to resolution than in disputes involving ideology, ethnicity, or say territory. And often the mere fact of negotiation often engenders peace and security. So education, and the pitch I'll make is for experiential learning, which I'll describe in a moment, is invaluable. The next slide, please. And the next slide after that. Okay, this is a stylized map. It's a little out of date, but quickly it shows the two major rivers that determine the water supply in Central Asia. The top one is the Syr Darya, a very important river in Kazakhstan. The bottom one is the Amu Darya. The way it's been stylized, it shows how the water supply diminishes and ultimately ends, or used to end up, in the Aral Sea. Now, of course, with the diminishment of the Aral Sea, there's all kinds of possibilities for climate change being exacerbated in the area. And it's a huge issue. And then, as I alluded to earlier, Afghanistan has plans to take a lot more water at the Amu Darya. I guess the bottom line in all this, though, is that, as I say, with every crisis, there's opportunity. And no one is better situated than Kazakhstan to work with other institutions, other countries. My experience trying to mediate water disputes in Central Asia is the Kazakhs are always the people that are the most thoughtful, the most perceptive, the most helpful. That I can't say that of every other country, although it's really not fair to stereotype. But Kazakhstan has been tremendous. Every initiative that I've had the privilege of being involved in, from the World Bank initiatives of some years ago up into the current United Nations initiatives to try to avoid conflict and manage disputes, it's been the Kazakhs that have been taking the role. So I guess with education, you need knowledge, and learning are crucial to all that. And as someone famously said, in the end, we'll only conserve that what we love. We will only love that which we understand. We'll only
1 minute.
That's what we're taught. So the pitch here is to have Kazakhstan work more closely with countries like Canada and the United States. I have close colleagues at the University of Texas A&M and in McGeorge University in California, and really mainstream the idea that Kazakhs and people in Kazakhstan, as a hub for the region, as was alluded to earlier, could work cooperatively and together to educate a whole new generation of mediators and people with expertise in both science and diplomacy. There's never been a better opportunity. There's never been more crisis where there's no need for that. So thank you. I appreciate your attention, and I'm pleased to answer any questions you might have.
Our next speaker from Canada is Professor Chandra Madramutu from McGill University, an English language university. It is in the MacDonald campus, just west of Montreal Centre. He has also worked on Central Asia issues. His faculty focuses, amongst other issues, exactly on this climate change and its impact on agriculture, drought mitigation, food security. Thank you so much, Professor Madramuto.
Pardon me, Mr. Paisley wanted to share something.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Mr. Paisley, did you want to share one more thing?
No, I'm good. Thank you, though. I appreciate the thought. I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Scott, for your very kind introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to those of you in Kazakhstan. Taran, do you have my presentation? I sent it to you.
Yes.
If you could put it up on the screen.
Just give me a second, sir.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Taran. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, as distinguished guests, as Ambassador Scott has mentioned, I've had the privilege of working for over a decade in Central Asia. And I want to share some of my experiences with you and some of the expertise that we bring to the problems in Kazakhstan and how McGill University could work together with other institutions in Kazakhstan. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. My focus, based on my expertise, is going to be on water, energy, food, and the climate nexus. And all three of these, four of these are very much interrelated, as mentioned by Professor Paisley and others earlier on. We see with the continued melt of the glaciers, with the different transboundary water sharing agreements that are very difficult to implement amongst the 5 republics, and the allocation of water resources, primarily from the Amudarya and the Sirdarya River, leaves us with several issues to address with respect to water and food security in very drought-prone areas. Next slide, please. And so a lot of my attention has been focused on studying the irrigation potential in Central Asia. We have done a lot of work in the Fergana Valley of Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan, where we have conducted studies to try and improve the management of water, the conservation of soil moisture, to try and provide food security and nutritious crops to the population using very scarce water resources. So we've done a lot of mapping, understanding the flow regimes and how we could adjust our irrigation strategies. And so one of our test areas that we worked in was in the Fergana Valley of Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. Next slide, please. And this is the some of the work that we did, and a reference to the paper, which you will get when the presentation is posted. We did a lot of field trials. My work is very much located in the field, and we've done a tremendous amount of field studies on different types of irrigation strategies. We've looked at alternate wet and dry irrigation strategies. We've looked at deficit irrigation. We have looked at the reduction of soil salinization through improved water management practices and furrow design to enhance crop yields of peas and beans, lentils and chickpeas, and other crops that would provide nutritional security to the populations. Next slide, please. And so as we turn to the large landmass of Kazakhstan and some of the challenges that are faced in the country, of course, water management for food security is very critical. And how do we allocate scarce water supplies, dwindling water supplies in light of reduced melt from the glaciers and the fact that we have less reliable flows in rivers because of the fact of the glacier snowmelt issue, and of course the increase in rise in temperatures, greenhouse gas emissions, and reduced water availability for irrigation. Next slide, please. The other aspect that we believe is very important is land degradation. And especially in northern Kazakhstan, the degraded lands occupying area are about 180 million hectares. And the fertility on irrigated lands is decreasing significantly. 60% of the pastures have been degraded as a result of nomadic herders and very intensive livestock grazing. And you put together all of these challenges with respect to climate change, land degradation, less and less water availability, and the impact of that on food availability for the population is really the nexus that we are coming to deal with in some of the work that we have done in Central Asia, and we would be willing to continue to do in Kazakhstan. Next slide, please. And so, touching very much on what has been mentioned before from
1 minute.
From the various speakers, and particularly our colleague from the Bolshak Foundation, we see the potential for a collaborative program with McGill University that could include the training of scholars in water security, food security, climate change, and the environment. We propose to put on short courses led by McGill University in conjunction with the local institutions on the above subjects in Kazakhstan to meet some of the needs of practitioners in the field as well. What we call in Canada agricultural extension officers who are working with the ministries of agriculture and people on the ground. And we would also like to promote student and staff exchanges between McGill and the JSC Center for interchange programs between staff and students, where some of the Kazakh staff could come to Canada and students can come to Canada, come to McGill, and we in turn would have some of our students and scholars work collaboratively on joint projects in the field. And so with that, I would like to thank you very much for giving me this opportunity and allowing me to speak. And I look forward to continued collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Madramutu. Our next speaker is Professor Karim Koyami, who also has been in Kazakhstan several times and is known to universities there. He offers an online product which expands students' knowledge and skills in medicine and related. Professor Koyami.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank the organizing committee for giving me the opportunity to speak today. The product we have is an online interactive simulation for virtual medical education. In reality, it's a virtual hospital with 130 digitally enhanced patients that are available for students and professors 24/7. And they can reach the platform and their patients at any time they want. And they can practice without ethical and legal consequences. It covers continuum of care and based on competency-based education. I've been in Kazakhstan last year, and first of all, at this time, I'd like to thank the Canadian Embassy in Kazakhstan and the Kazakhstan Embassy in Canada for giving me a great opportunity and supporting me fully behind Imagination. And I visited most of the universities that you see here on the screen, and we're at this point in different stages of negotiation and talks with them. Nazarbayev Medical Academy would like to do a pilot project with us, and the other universities are also working with us, such as Astana and Karaganda, South Kazakhstan and Kazakhstan National Academy. We are a little bit more active in other areas in Uzbekistan, and maybe because we started our relationship with Uzbekistan a bit earlier. So we are already implementing our products in Tashkent Medical Academy and Medical University of Karachi, Pakistan, and Tashkent Pharmaceutical Universities. And also we are in negotiations and talk with the Ministry of Health to use cyber patient for patient safety and reduction of medical errors. In other areas in this area, other places we have active business is Tbilisi Medical Academy. And this year, with the help of our colleagues, we would like to attend Armenia, Azerbaijan, Tajikistan, Mongolia, and Turkmenistan. The product we demonstrated to our colleagues in Kazakhstan last year, it was Cyber Patient 2.5, which is you see on the left side of the screen. It's basically based on cartoony avatars. And now we developed the product 3.0, which you see on the right side, and they are more like human-like avatars. And also this product is driven by artificial intelligence and also natural language processing. So you can talk actually to the avatars rather than clicking. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about is the last year a main research project we completed in Bulgaria with our colleagues, and I had a PhD student there. The study was on the comparison of knowledge retention after the use of virtual patient versus high fidelity physical simulator and traditional training. So they had three group of students, interns from pediatrics, and they found that cyber patient was more effective or significantly more effective than the other methods on knowledge retention after a month. And it was really a nice surprising for everyone, including myself. So I don't want to take much of your time. You have seen the pitch deck before. So if you have any questions, I would be more than happy to talk to you. I hope I'm in the less than 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next Canadian speaker is Madame Angela Wojciechowska, who works with international organizations, the Saskatchewan Polytechnic. This Polytechnic programs are directed to the development sector, and the initiatives aim at both technical and educational reform and working with the private sector in order to prepare students for the labor market. Focuses on mining and agriculture. Angela.
Thank you so much, and thanks to the organizers of this this event this evening. It's my absolute pleasure to present to you about Saskatchewan Polytechnic. So Saskatchewan Polytechnic is located in the middle of Canada. We have 4 campuses in Moose Jaw, Prince Albert, Saskatoon, and Regina. So we're located in the prairie region of Canada. I just wanted to give you some highlights about Saskatchewan, and the reason I do this is because you'll see a lot of the similarities with Kazakhstan. If you dropped yourself in northern Kazakhstan, you would be perplexed whether or not you were sitting in the middle of Saskatchewan or Kazakhstan. So Saskatchewan has a wealth of resources, agriculture, potash, uranium, and other critical minerals and oil. We're the largest producer of peas, lentils, wheat, mustard, canola, and flaxseed. The largest producer of potash, which is used in fertilizers. The world's richest uranium deposits, and one of the top producers of oil and gas. I mentioned this because it's very similar to the economy in Kazakhstan, but also it's very imperative to Saskatchewan Polytechnic that we're producing grads that are able to support these industries, and that our graduates have the skills that are needed by the various industries and other industries not listed here to be able to support the economy. Some quick facts: we have over 14,000 students. We're proud that we have 2,300 Indigenous students, over 3,000 international students. We'd like to grow this number within Kazakhstan and Central Asia, and over 150 different programs that really hit every sector of the economy, from healthcare, early childhood education, mining, the trades, engineering, and so on and so forth. Our pathways are certificates, diplomas, degrees, postgraduate, and vocational and technical training. All of our credentials, or all of our programs, are applied learning programs. So one of the strengths of the Canadian Polytechnic and college system is the applied learning component. So I would say 85% of the programs, of the content of the program, is applied or practical, with about 15% being theory-based. A lot of times we have international guests that come to our college or our polytechnic, and they say, why aren't the students sitting in their desks? It's because they're touching, they're learning, they're involved in the equipment, and they're always doing applied learning. So it's a real strength of the Canadian system. I want to talk a little bit about the economy, because the Canadian Polytechnic and college system is really driven by the needs of industry. And we recently did an impact of how Saskatchewan Polytechnic impacts the economy of Saskatchewan. So 1 in 19 jobs are supported by the activities of Saskatchewan Polytechnic students and alumni. So you can't go into a mining company in Saskatchewan without 85% of the employees being trained by us. Our impact on the economy is about $2.6 billion of income that's provided to the provincial economy. We're very proud of our graduate rates, 95% employment rates, 97% visible minorities, and 92% of employers said that they'd hire a Saskatchewan Polytechnic graduate again. As I've mentioned, industry-driven training is really the key to our success. To maintain provincial funding, Saskatchewan Polytechnic's programs and services must respond to employer needs. How do we do this? Each of our programs, I mentioned that we have over 150 programs. Each program has a program advisory committee that's made up of industry stakeholders. So if we have a mining program, we'll have a large mining company, a small mining company, and a supplier of a mining company, all driving what the content of the curriculum should be. We're constantly reviewing our performance data, how our students are doing, what employers are saying, what skills employers feel that we need to be training our students. This is an ongoing process that's built into our curriculum framework. All of our faculty don't come from the university system. They're not teachers per se. We train them how to teach, but they're industry professionals. So if you're teaching a welding course, you've had to have 5 to 10 years of experience working as a welder or a machinist or a mechanic to be a faculty member.
1 minute.
We have a lot of experience in international development projects, specifically working in TVET reform projects. So helping countries and the national system be able to have a more robust system that's responding to the needs of industry. For Kazakhstan, I think our work in Ukraine, Jordan, and Vietnam is really relevant to what could be done in Kazakhstan. In addition, we do international contract training where we go into companies and we do, skills upgrading training. We also bring people to Saskatchewan Polytechnic to be able to upgrade their skills. I was just recently in Kazakhstan and I met with a number of mining and agriculture companies, and one of their biggest pain points was that there's a real skills gap into what they require from students and what's coming out of the vocational education system. So we are very interested in supporting the reform agenda for Kazakhstan in technical and vocational education. And I think a number of my colleagues on this call from other post-secondary institutions in Canada would be interested in having conversations on how we could take that forward. So thank you very much for your attention, and it's been a pleasure presenting to you today.
Thank you so much, Angela. Over to Gilles Breton. Merci.
Well, thank you, Margaret. Thank you to all the presenters for a very sort of, needless to say, interesting presentation, enlightening and enthusiastic presentations as well. I was just going through the questions here that we've received, or in the chat. I don't see a lot of questions to the speakers, but I think a unlimited appetite for more contact between participants. So we will make sure that this happens, in the sense that what I can see from all the comments that have been made is that there is a great deal of eagerness for our participants of this meeting together to connect with other colleagues. So I think we'll do our best to achieve that. At this point in time, I would have to ask, are there any specific questions that anyone would want to raise and that has not been mentioned yet in the chat? Okay. Yes, Mr. Professor Sagin.
Yes, I just want to clarify. I have a question to Angela. I sent it, yeah, just to clarify. We have a big issue with transboundary river basins. It's a huge problem. And Canada and the United States, they're dealing very well on their transboundary issues. Will be possible to set up this TVET training program. So it could be like combination of theory with practical training. So we, for example, we may start to train students in our colleges in Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, for example, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan transboundary river basin, learn basic stuff, and maybe some of your instructors will teach online. And we may have some kind of summer school. So our students and maybe some diplomats or, I don't know, big bosses may visit Canada and the United States and may see how Canada and the United States work on transboundary river basins. This is a very hot topic in Central. It's critical to learn how you manage all this stuff. So we need a very good training program related to practical use, how people manage it. Yeah, so it's very important for us.
I'm not like familiar on a technical side on this specific topic, but I will go back to my colleagues in the natural resource programs, and you did send me the link, and I must get back to you within the next couple of days to see what's available in terms of that sort of. And if you don't mind sending me an email of just everything that you're looking for, I can reach out to colleagues to get you an answer. But definitely like summer programs, training institutes, training academies, that's definitely something that we're interested in working with Kazakhstan.
Oh, wonderful. Sorry, just to clarify, you have Red River College in Manitoba. Do you have cooperation with them? Because they're based on this Red River Basin Commission. So they provide some training for this Red River Basin Committee, and maybe to cooperate with them and to combine your Saskatchewan River Basin and Red River Basin to have some kind of mixture of these different provinces, how they work on compare good stuff and what kind of issues they have. Yeah, so it will be very interesting. Thank you very much.
We do work with in sharing programs on, on a domestic basis. So I'll reach out to my colleagues at Red River. I don't know if anybody from Red River is on the call today, but I will get back to you. I promise to get back to you.
Thank you very much. I don't see anybody from Red River College. Yeah, sorry. Thank you.
Yes, we have a question here. Yuldis Smagulova.
Yeah, thank you, colleagues. Thank you very much. It was very, very interesting. I have a question, not necessarily related to this particular conference, but in general. We, KMEP University, we're one of the few English medium schools in the region, and we're continuously looking for faculty. However, we're very limited by the restrictions imposed by Kazakhstani government. Canada, unfortunately, is not on the list of 30 partner countries we can hire faculty from. So I wonder if on your side is anyone working with our Ministry of Labor and Ministry of Higher Education to remove that restriction, because at the moment it's very, very difficult, if not impossible, to hire anyone from Canada with Canadian passport. Just a comment. Thank you very much.
We can pose that question to our embassy here in Kazakhstan. Thank you so much. This is important.
Yeah, we will follow up. Yep. Thank you for the question. Okay, I don't think we have another question. And I think at this point, I will have turned the meeting back to Tatiana so that, Tatiana, you can do the promised wrap up.
Okay.
Unless you've seen some other questions that I've not seen.
I saw one question in the very beginning from Mr. Morozov to Mr. Sagin, and that was regarding the companies which were mentioned at the presentation of Mr. Sagin. Mr. Morozov, would you like to repeat your question?
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I have many questions here, actually.
Рибу купіть, ага, і все. Ну що?
Sorry.
А вам пусть якщо собі була версія на бензин, на що-нибудь понадобиться.
Yeah, can I ask those people who are not speaking, please mute your microphones. Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Morozov.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for letting me speak. I actually had a few questions here that I asked from Mr. Sagin, and on the last speaker about the educational system in Kazakhstan. I actually wanted to propose, if that is of any interest, I may collaborate on any legal studies, if that is of any interest. I'm available. As about the question to Mr. Sagin, let me just recover from the messages that I sent. I think I asked Mr. Sagin if he contacted any Canadian companies or any Canadian authorities for the questions that he mentioned in his presentation, and I haven't received any answer in relation to that. So I think that Mr. Sagin's presentation was very interesting and inspiring. However, I've not seen any information of what efforts Mr. Sagin took to achieve or to reach those contacts in Canada. And quite frankly, I was wondering if he is struggling with reaching out to those contacts, then maybe we can jointly be of any assistance. That's pretty much my question.
Thank you.
Okay, should I answer? Or what's procedure?
Yeah, well, it's a question, and
okay. Okay, I can answer. Yeah, sorry, I was listening all those guys. Sorry, I didn't answer you immediately because a lot of stuff so interesting. Yeah, so just to concentrate to listen. So I will respond on all your questions definitely. So I contacted this Canadian College of North Atlantic at Canadian Embassy, helping me a lot. So we will have a meeting on 28th of February with the head of this college, with president of the college, and several other head of the department of this college. And we are so hopefully we will set up cooperation related to this hydrogen technician training program. So this part should be okay. And regarding companies, so it's not easy to contact these companies because it's some kind of gold rush now. They are on a huge demand because all countries, they're in huge demand and everybody wants this type of experts and it will be very complicated. So in this area, I think I will need your help and I will need help from Embassy, Canadian Embassy, help get this expert, maybe convince them to participate in some training program, maybe visit Kazakhstan. We'll be very, very lucky to get some of them, and maybe they will give us some lectures how they work on this issue. And this Montreal company, they found this white hydrogen in Africa, in Mali. So we want to learn how they did it, and maybe we can get some kind of exchange program and summer schools, and our students may go visit this Mali, and we can visit Alberta and Toronto and see these companies, what they're doing. And it could be, I guess, could be some difficulties, because who knows, maybe they will say it's our secret and companies stuff, you know, maybe they will not share knowledge. So it's another big issue. So we have to work on this issue. Education is by education, but companies quite often, they keep their knowledge. And so we have to find a way. And I will need help of Canadian Embassy, maybe Kazakh Embassy, Kazakh government, help us to connect to these companies and convince them to share knowledge here, because it's new knowledge and it's gold rush, as I mentioned, because some researchers, they keep their knowledge and no, it's a good, big business now. Gold rush, yeah. White hydrogen. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Gilles, I think that was the only question which I identified as not noticed. So if you don't mind, we probably can adjourn the meeting. Before we do that, I would like to repeat that everyone is welcome to participate at the plenary session, which will be run in Toronto on March the 3rd. The information about this session is available on our website, and I believe we will send it around to the participants as well.
Tatiana, we have
Yes.
2 questions.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, something is popping up. I did not notice it.
Yeah, we probably let's take the time to get to that. Yes, Mr. Shamenov, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for organizing this session. Very informative, very interesting. My name is Abdildar Shamenov. I'm the board member of the Alliance of Technology Conversation Professionals. So I don't have the question, but kind of a proposal. So I see that this dialogue platform is very useful, and we see many universities taking part from Canadian side, and we are very interested in the practice of technology transfer and technology commercialization. So several experts were visiting Kazakhstan, and we know how government is supportive in terms of innovations coming from universities. In Kazakhstan, we have World Bank project providing support for innovations. We have Science Fund. I was heading this organization before. And we have Kaz Innovations, the organization is providing also grants funding. So take into account that Canadian universities receive this kind of support from the government, have this well-established system of technology transfer. And today we raise questions that Kazakhstan needs technologies in different areas. And I think this would be a very interesting discussion. I understand that this is not right to the topic on education, but it is related since we have academic institutions here. And I wanted to note that Kazakhstan is very lucky to have here in Kazakhstan His Excellency Alan Hampson, Canadian ambassador. He does a really great work. So we are very grateful. Last year we visited Canada Day. So we learned a lot about Canadian culture, education system. So this person really builds the bridges between our countries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sorry, Tatiana, again, and I have another person here, Mr. Aslanov.
Добрый день всем участникам. Очень благодарен Канадской Евразийской торговой палате за организацию такого мероприятия. Я много чего узнал сегодня. Меня зовут Виктор Асланов. Я представляю Союз полеводов Казахстана. Спасибо большое за приглашение поучаствовать. Хотел бы очень коротко сказать о том, что у нашей ассоциации есть такая большая мечта организовать агрошколу при нашем союзе. И я вот использую вашу площадку для того, чтобы сказать об этом и заявить о своей, с нашей готовности, да, сотрудничать. Не знаю, может быть, кто-то заинтересуется из участников вашего совещания. Вот, собственно, что я хотел сказать. Спасибо большое.
Спасибо вам большое. Tatiana, back to the Serba meeting on the 3rd of March. Sorry about that. And you have the final word now.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So again, everyone is invited to our to the KCBC plenary session on March the 3rd. It will be a very interesting event, and we will resend the invitations all to the participants of all the working groups. That's first. The second message I have, again, that we will be posting all the panel presentations and the bios of the speakers on our website. Actually, these documents are already there, and I will be sending around the link how to access them. And also the video record of this event will also be posted at our website for your convenience if you would like to revisit the discussion and see maybe there is something else you would like to focus on. So just a second, something popped up. Okay. So thank you, everyone. I understand that it's pretty late for the eastern part of Canada and quite early for Kazakhstan. Thank you for taking your time and joining this event.
Pardon me, Tatiana. Can I quickly share one event that Mr. Paisley asked me to share with everyone? It's just one slide.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So Mr. Paisley asked me to share this event in April in Almaty. It's the 6th annual Water and Peace Seminar. And I can share the slides later with everyone, all the participants. It's about water security and new wave of dam development. So yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you, Taranjit. Thank you, everyone. And on this optimistic note, I think our meeting can be adjourned, and hope to see you all in Toronto. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All the best to you.
Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.